My training started in Blackpool. That was our Polish RAF center. First, we learned recognition of different German planes during at night on the cinema screens, knowing when sometime we will be bombing Germany, flying over Germany, not to shoot down our planes, because sometime at night is very difficult to recognize the aircraft between British aircraft and German aircraft. But we've been specially trained at cinemas at night, so we almost could recognize the shape of the plane, how the shapes of the planes look of the German construction, and how the shapes look of the English construction. And in the end, even at night, we learn those things, how to be careful, sometimes not to shoot on our planes.
Did you ever have to fire the guns during a mission?
Did I find gun?
Fire the guns during a mission?
I never had a chance of shooting down German aircraft, because during my 18 operation, we passed through lots of difficult times of searchlights, shell exploding from anti-aircraft, many other incidents, but I never had chance to opening the fire on none of the German planes, because I was lucky, probably, or during my operational tours, we not had that engagement with the Germans' night fighters.
Can you describe the procedure for taking off in the bomber?
Procedure?
Taking off procedure.
Yeah. Taking off, it was always the most dangerous part of our journey. The pilot will come to the starting point, test for the last minute all his 4 engines and getting permission to start from flying control. During that time, if any defect could happen, the plane is almost in the most dangerous situation what you could find yourself. After takeoff, once you regain certain height, altitude, you feel the pilot can lower the throttle of his engine, because the plane already give their big strength to lift the load what we had to take to our destination.
Can you tell me about the landing procedure?
Landing procedure was always the happiest point of our journey because we were believing whatever happened in those times, we are in our home close to our accommodation. And that was the happiest part of our journey, and happy to come and talk about our mission, what we went through that night.
Can you tell me about the briefings you would have?
The briefing always was to us very partly scary because we've been always told what journey is ahead of us. And we always knew what during that journey anything could happen. So before we took off, we always give ourselves hand. Whatever happened, we will always remember each other. But the biggest happiness always happened when we returned and took of our successes return home.
How would you describe morale amongst the crew?
Morale with the crew was always high because we knew what we were making progress in closer to our victory. But sometime when we return from our mission, and sometime we lost one or two crews, it was very depressing days for few days, seeing the tables when previously people sat having their food, lunches, or dinners. And that depressing mood sometime lasted for quite a few days. But that was the war we've been prepared to have and face happier days and much more depressing days.
And what did you do to entertain yourselves?
Yes, thank you. Entertaining days always were happy when sometime we could not take off because it was foggy, or sometime the meteorological weather not possible for continue to do our missions. Some of us were playing bridge, some of us were playing snooker, some of us were having nice, happy pint of beer, discussing the past experience, what we had, and hoping what we achieve soon victory, and we will be able to celebrate the victory and sometime visit our families at home and tell them about our past, what we had to serve during the war.
And what's your happiest memory of the war?
The happiest memory of the war, it was in May when it was declared of the German surrender. During that night, I got myself so drunk, what I don't remember how I got home, but I was brought by my friends. My friends were older than me, so they could withstand the more spirit they drank. I was younger and not such experienced. I got myself so badly drunk, I don't remember how I got home. But the next day, I got so happy with very, very sore head. And I only drank cup of tea the next day. That was the truth.
Were there any particularly popular songs that you liked?
The most popular song, we had lovely girl who sang to us the song. What one sunny day we will meet again. And that song, when I hear even now, it brings me back. And I am old now, but I still feel what I'm young, because that song gives us so much spirit. The beautiful memory, melody, and the beautiful words what were in that song.
Aboard the, when you were on a mission, did you speak to each other in Polish?
Yes, we spoke completely in our Polish. We were under British command, but the crew were all brief in Polish. And we had better understanding, speaking our own language, than probably not 100% what we could speak English in those days.
Was it very cold aboard the bombers? Was it cold aboard the bombers?
Yes, it was cold before the bombing, but we've been always dressed up to stand up the cold high altitude. But we could plug our electric contacts, what we were connected to our flying suits. So we've been morely always warm from be prepared from what we meet over enemy territory and not thinking much about the cold. But the cold always was on high altitude. If anything would go wrong with the heating, would be very severe danger to the human life.
Could you see much on the ground when you were on a bombing mission?
Yes. At night, when we used to fly over enemy territory, when it was moonlight. It was mostly danger nights what we had to face. We always knew what during those nights we face much more danger than in some nights when they were slightly overclouded. So we always, in case of emergency, having unexpected meeting with the German fighters, we could, without hesitating, hide ourselves inside into the cloud. When even the Germans will avoid to follow us because they knew they would face just as much danger themselves as they could inflict on us.
And on missions, were you part of a bomber stream? Were you in a bomber stream on a mission?
Was I in the mission on the bomb?
Were you with a lot of other bombers when you were flying? Were there other bombers around you on a mission?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. You asked me that question. The most danger part was when we've been approaching the bombing target and the bomberman was directing pilot right on the target. During that time, sometime were incidents when the one of our plane was approaching slightly from small different direction, and you had to avoid continue straight course and release your bomb because it would involve you in coalition with near approaching our own plane. So what you do, you making the turning, and during that turning you lose lots of distance to turn back and do return approach to the target. During that time is most danger to collide with another approaching aircrafts coming on the same target, or delaying your return from the target when lots of German fighters during that time hunting for last returning plane. This is the most dangerous part. If during your approach on target something happen, but probably you have to turn and make second approach because you're losing your return home, and during that time lots of Germans fighters still in the area what you are victim of return.